Is Evangelion deep? Is Naruto deep? Is Star Wars deep? Is JoJo deep? Is Fairy Tail deep? One of my oldest videos tackles this topic. Wisecrack made a video on the philosophy of Evangelion. They analyzed psychological, religious, and philosophical ideas in the story. There's also a Wikipedia page called Themes of Evangelion that also analyzes similar topics. These are the things that I, at the time, believed made Eva deep. I later realized that Naruto also had religious connections similar to Eva and made a video. I now realize that Naruto probably had philosophical connections too, like pacifism and forgiveness. My video argued that if Eva was deep for the reasons mentioned here, Naruto is too. I actually disagree with this now. This was such an elitist, snobby line of logic. To think that a story is immediately deep because it references topics within psychology, philosophy, and religion is ridiculous. Okay, so what does deep mean? I'm pretty sure everyone has their own definition for it, but I decided to take a logical road to defining it in stories rather than just saying what I feel. I started by looking at the opposite end. What makes a story shallow? That's easy. A story is shallow if it has nothing to say. In other words, if it doesn't have a theme. But it's nearly impossible to write a story without accidentally or intentionally making a theme. So depth will be a spectrum. On one end, there's shallow. On the other, there's deep. Stories that don't put much effort into writing a theme relative to other stories will be closer to the shallow end. Stories that put more effort into writing their theme will be closer to the deep end. What does putting more effort into the theme mean? It means using actual writing techniques to flesh out the theme of the story. The basic formula is to have a character that represents the theme, and a character that represents the opposition to the theme, the anti-theme. In the climax, the theme is proven to be right through the actions of the characters. I didn't create this. This is used in several movies, Pixar movies, superhero movies, regular movies, you name it. The more a story plays with this formula, the deeper it gets. Examples would be tying character arcs to the theme, using four-corner opposition to have multiple perspectives on the theme, and having quotes that clearly define the sides. Here's an example of a theme executed well. In Star Wars 4, Luke believes in altruism, helping people because it's the right thing to do. He sees Leia's message and decides to try and help because she sounds like she's in trouble. He represents the theme. Han later has a conversation with Luke where he says that he only looks out for himself. He represents the anti-theme. When the hero saves Leia and Han gets his reward, he leaves to take care of himself, while Luke stays with the resistance to fight in the war. Both represent their sides well here. In the climax, Han has a character arc related to the theme and comes back to save Luke, which allows the latter to secure victory. Luke's altruism was proven to be the correct path. There was a theme, anti-theme, some quotes, a character arc tied to the theme, and a climax that proved the theme right. This effort places A New Hope in the deep zone. So what about Evangelion? Eva is an episodic anime that might have had a different theme each episode, so I can't speak for those, but I can speak for the final episode, episode 26. As lazy as it is, the theme is still executed. Shinji believes that everyone hates him and that he hates himself. Everyone believes otherwise, and through talking to him, they help him realize that he can love himself, that his life has value, and that his life is worth living in reality. This breaks him out of the fake reality, and he gets congratulated by everyone. It's confusing, but it's a victorious ending. There's a theme, you can love yourself. There's an anti-theme, you can't love yourself. There are reps for both sides. There's a character arc. There's a climax that proves the theme right, although it's very confusing. All of these factors place the last episode in the deep zone. If these concepts were built up throughout the entire season, then the entire show would be deep. I don't remember because it's been a while since I watched it. What about Naruto? I already have a video analyzing all of the themes in the Chunin exams arc alone, and they're well executed. The prologue/Land of Waves arc also had several well done themes. From my memory, most, if not all, Naruto arcs had a theme. So that would put the entire story in the deep zone. What about JoJo? I haven't deeply analyzed any part, but from my memory, JoJo does not put much effort into its themes. This is what JoJo usually does. The enemy stand user behaves in some kind of despicable way, and the heroes defeat them. Therefore, the theme is don't act like how the villain was acting. In this case, I believe the writer is unconsciously writing a theme. There's only a rep for the anti-theme, no theme rep. There is no climax that proves the theme right. There is no character arc tied to the theme. An example would be Part 4's Harvest arc. Shigechi starts acting selfishly and turns into the antagonist, so the heroes eventually defeat him. Here, the theme would be don't act selfishly, but there's not much effort put into the theme. Part 5 did have some arcs where they had a theme revolving around resolve. The Grateful Dead and Beach Boy fight is the best example of this. The theme is that you need resolve to win. Both sides believe this and show that by having the resolve to take greater and greater risks in order to win the fight. Bruno, who took the greatest risks, is rewarded by winning the fight. This is better than before. There's no anti-theme, but this theme, reps, and a climax that proves the theme right. There was intent behind this theme, and the effort shows that. Unfortunately, this is a rare occurrence if my memory is accurate. So as of now, JoJo is in the middle of deep and shallow. If I ever do a thematic analysis on JoJo parts, this could change. What about Fairy Tail? Well, like Naruto, I already did a thematic analysis on a few of the arcs. Fairy Tail executed its themes well for the first 100 chapters, so that area of Fairy Tail is deep. If it continued that level of theme writing throughout the entire story, then the whole story is deep. The same goes for JJK and One Piece. The arcs I covered were at least somewhere in the deep zones. In conclusion, I assess a story's depth by how well the theme was conveyed. What the story's theme is could also increase its depth. For example, if story A's theme is sharing is caring, and story B's theme is believing the ends justify the means is a slippery slope. Both work, but I believe B's is more complex and interesting, while A's is simple. There's more to say about B than there is to say about A. However, this doesn't mean a theme about sharing can't be made to be more complex. If a story really evaluated all the positives and negatives in a meaningful way and still decided that sharing is caring, then that could be as deep as B's theme. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, and help me revolutionize the manga industry by buying my manga and spreading the word. All important links will be in the description.